People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, you lot hardly ever see me smile, people. An old man like me, I'm grinning teeth. Apparently we're in talks, so it looks like the prospect of us signing Nicolas Pépé from Lille in a £72 million deal, 80 million, excluding add-ons, because I do believe there's potential add-ons. Apparently, it looks like it could be done. Of course, in all seriousness, until I's are dotted and T's are crossed and people are holding the Arsenal shirt and these things, as far as us fans will know, it hasn't been done, but a lot of credible news sites have spoken about it. Again, I want to stress that transfers, regardless of being on official outlets, can still go wrong. I don't know if he's done medicals and all of these sort of things and all of them sort of things you need to do, but Ornstein's spoken about it, all them in the knows have spoken about it. It's on credible websites, like I said. Like, if I just bring up the article from BBC and read it out to you guys, here we go. It's quite a long one. Where is it? Where is it gone? Apologies, people. Let me go and just type in Nicolas Pépé again. It's actually gone. There we go. Apologies. Cracking on. Ornstein's put an article on the BBC saying we've agreed a £72 million move. We've reached an agreement with Lille to pay obviously the money. We'll obviously pay in instalments for the 24-year-old, which is obviously a benefit to us. Now, you heard Vinay speak about it in his Q&A that he doesn't know where this £45 million reported budget has come from. As far as us football fans know, we'll never understand. Of course, there's financial issues, and he has spoken about that because we've been in the Europa League, and Josh Kroenke spoke about that as well. Clearly, there's financial restrictions of such, so they have to be very creative with how they structure deals, the bonuses, when they'll get the money, and all of these sort of things. Really and truly, us football fans shouldn't worry about that. Unless you're a financial accountant or you actually can see the contract and how things are being drafted up, you'll never know much more than just beyond what we're being told. At the end of the day, to get someone who, first and foremost, before we even get onto his ability and all them intricate sort of things there, I don't want to put no pressure on him, but signings like this, it makes fans think, okay, you're back in your chat. Because if you remember, obviously, they spoke about expensive players and the fans should be excited and things. And we've gone from, no disrespect to Carrasco and Fraser, but we've been linked with Zaha. Obviously, Pepe looks to be done. We've brought in Ceballos on loan. So there's been positive things to be positive about in regards to Arsenal's transfer stuff, and for the most pessimistic of fans like myself, admittedly, we're seeing things, to be honest. Obviously, we've had the fans protesting and all of these sort of things, and there's still a lot to do, both for the club to get all fans on side, and there's still a lot to do in our transfer market, because obviously it's nice to obviously see Pepe coming into the club, Ceballos and Saliba next season, but there are some players that need to be moved on. In fact, you argue with the addition of Pepe, with Nelson's promotion to the first team and things like that, you'd be a couple of midfielders or a couple of people have to go. I think Mkhitaryan is obviously going to be used this season, but you'd like to think with Saka's emergence, Pepe coming in, obviously they don't exclusively play on the same flank, but with Pepe, with Iwobi who's likely to be used again, someone's going to miss out. Saka's emergence, Nelson's back at the club and until he goes on loan, if he does go on loan, you'd like to think someone's going to miss out. Now, Mkhitaryan, for example, can obviously play in the 10. Emre might even test him in a pivot, could be argued, but you'd like to think someone's going to miss out. And obviously you've got Martinelli, who's going to need time, so at least for the first couple months in the season, he's kind of irrelevant unless he hits the ground running. It'll be interesting to see. For me, the signing of Pepe is a good one. Now, it's but people, it's just crud, really. Like, this is a great signing, really. I don't want to put no pressure on him. Obviously, you're seeing 80 million. There is a lot of pressure because if he doesn't hit the ground running, he doesn't hit the ground running. But this has become the norm. If you want these players that make the difference, then you've got to go and do that. He obviously had a super season. I even got the statistics. He scored 23 goals last season, people. And he got, 11 assists, forgive me if I'm wrong. So he's shown that he can lay on for his teammates. Predominantly plays on the right wing. I think he can play up front as well, people. He can play up front with 4-4-2. He can play in that sort of role. And I know he's stationed on the right wing, but if you actually watch Nicolas Pépé, he drifts inside quite a lot and wants to get involved in that sort of thing. So he can play, if it was two up front, he could play behind Aubameyang, for example. Again, we're going to get onto all of that stuff in a sec. But there's several things you can do, and I do think he's 24. He could very much turn into a striker. You look at Aubameyang's age. You look at the outlay of his transfer. He's signing a 5-year deal worth 72 million. Who knows what sort of formation, what position he'll be in 2 years. Now he's done his thing on the right flank, right hand flank. For me, he's better. He likes to be involved centrally, and he's not exclusively on the flank, as most wingers that are effective in the final third aren't. Mo Salah, Mane, Mahrez, all of these top wingers, they obviously do hug the touchline and try and beat their fullback, but they're coming inside. So that's why I think there's scope for Pepe to become a striker. And also, we're not going to sign these players, but we've been linked with a whole host of strikers, Dembele, Moreno, a couple other strikers. And I have been saying this for a while. You lot that watch me know I've been saying there's no smoke without fire. Emre clearly would like another striker. You look at Eddie, he might be used, but he wasn't utilised. Welbs was when he was there, that sort of third choice. Pepe going to be used on the right-hand flank and things like that, but that kind of gives him that sort of thing there. And it'll be interesting for me to see what we do in terms of the flanks. I like his creative aspect. Obviously, you want him to be a goal scorer, people, but in 156 appearances, he's got 47 goals and 21 assists, forgive me if I'm wrong, somewhere. So that's decent for him, man. He had a good season last year. He's a very good technical player. He's good in the final third, whether that's goals or assists. Did look a bit fatigued at the African Cup of Nations. So it'll be nice to see how he gels in and what he does, man. I mean, I've known about him from his Angers days. He didn't, to be fair, people, similar to Hakim Ziyech, they took a while to kind of get going, really. I wasn't screaming Pepe from then, really. I remember he's had 2 good seasons. This season's been good, but I'm sure last season or the season before, he had a very good standout season and he was very close to joining Seville, and that obviously didn't happen. I like the fact that he's left-footed. At least I like to think he's left-footed. I've watched him a lot. So that obviously raises the prospect of him coming in off that right-hand flank, getting involved. He obviously can take people on. He's obviously an exciting player. There's a prospect of him playing as an in-stride striker in certain formations, the prospect of the right wing. I don't think he'll play on the left, so it doesn't really matter. But you never know. He might be stationed on the left. He could potentially be up front. In short, again, he gives us options. He comes with goals and assists, or at least you hope he's that player that can make the difference in the moments, together with, on paper, 30 goals, over 30 goals from Aubameyang last season, 22 in the league. Lacazette obviously chipped in with 13 goals, and I can't remember his assist in the league, people, for example, I'm not going to lie, but Lacazette did quite well in that. So it helps us in that. We still need to pattern up defence and get a centre-half and things, but the weights kind of, obviously you need Aubameyang and Lacazette to make the difference, but you can't expect them to do it all the time. There has been times, them are just simply not at it. People are injured. Pepe obviously raises the prospect of someone being able to assist. And like I said, if we can get a left back and a centre half in, there's something for Emre to work with next season and move sort of forward with people. What else was I gonna say? I've said everything on that regard. Just on another note, you lot know I don't like to talk about the speculation sort of thing, but you've seen that Napoli were interested. Apparently, they agreed a fee, but they couldn't agree something with Pepe's close circle or the people working in terms of being the middlemen, and it hasn't quite happened. And the bid was labelled disrespectful. Apparently, they offered him around a 3 million salary or just over that. We're giving him a 4.5 million salary, 5-year deal. Being signed for 72 million, so you'd expect this sort of stuff. These sort of signings, typically you're not going to get your resale back, or you're not going to make money on these transfers. Obviously, the way you make money is him selling shirts, him making a difference, becoming a star player and things. And he's only 24. He's not going to be the finished article. There are times he does have iffy games. There are times he could release the ball potentially quicker. For me, possibly play with his head up. At times he can go a bit missing, but he's a quality player for me, people. And I think people are really downplaying his aspect of how he can contribute centrally to Arsenal, not necessarily up front. And we might as well just speak about, oh God, we're just going to have to work with this, really. Let's move this across. I really should have prepared all of this, but let's move forward with the tactical point of view. So the first formation is obviously a 3 at the back sort of thing. You've obviously got the fullbacks very high, in case you didn't realise what I was getting at. And I started with this formation personally, people, because this is the one that I was least feeling and I thought was the trickiest for me, really, to kind of justify. But on the basis that Emre is likely to play 3 at the back, or he's favoured his wing-backs and whatnot, and I'll talk about it in a sec with regards to Nicolas Pépé, you've got to figure how can he feature in here, and how could you... Obviously, the good thing about him is different options. Lacazette and Aubameyang, they're a very good partnership together, but they don't need to play all games together. So there's a prospect of, obviously, it could be some sort of formation of Pepe and Aubameyang because their strengths are suiting it. Lacazette and Pepe, all different. Sometimes everyone's on the same field at the same time. Do you get it, people? Different sort of different sort of variations in theories makes us harder to play and makes it easier for us to think of a way to defeat the opposition. Because at times you can say in regards to Arsenal, sadly, you could say we've been a bit of an open book in terms of tactics or what to expect. But Emery has been feeling the three at the back. I think if he had defenders that were competent generally, I think he would play four at the back more, because I think in his heart he wants to. But assuming he rolls with this on a more frequent occasion, people, apologies for the, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, assuming he goes with that, then obviously I've put Nicolas Pépé here because he's yellow, just makes it a bit easier. I know a lot of you said it looks like an egg, very childish, but it's true. But I've highlighted him because obviously you've got Aubameyang, you've got Lacazette, yeah. You've got Pepe. Pepe can still play in this role, people. People, you underestimate him. He looks to receive. I'm not going to say he drops deep like a midfielder, but he relishes getting, not with his back to goal, but he relishes getting the ball on the turn and playing them cute little link-up plays. Because if you saw, who is it? Is Pepe, Ekone, is it Bamba of Leo as well? Couple of them sort of guys. You know they got them young sort of, is it Ekone as well on top of Bamba? You know they got them little young French players, all of them. It seems like they're all left-footed. Leo, I'm not watching them religiously, but when I am watching France or watching Leo last season, that's what I was seeing. On top of, at a point, they had statistically the youngest squad, and he linked up well. He did his thing on the flanks, but he linked up well. Obviously, moving them out of this position, you want him to burn his fullbacks and things like that, and he can do that, cutting in like you've seen. He scored different sorts of goals. I do think there's a lot of developing, fine-tuning to be done with him as well, and I'm probably going to do some more research on him, because I actually want to research, now that I said it, more the type of goals that he scores to get a feel. But I like the way he relishes getting the ball off his teammates, really. So you could play him somewhere like here, and you could have Aubameyang and Lacazette. Obviously, in the game, everyone's rotating and doing all of this sort of stuff, people. So really, formations, to a degree, are overrated. So if we remove a couple of them, people, I really shouldn't have to remove all of them, but for me, it's much easier. So we've moved away from the three at the back. Apologies. We've moved away at the three at the back. I only felt to give you like that because I feel like, obviously, we've seen that frequently last season. So could it be seen this year again? Who knows, man, but it is what it is. Let me just give this a half-hearted quick clean for you lot, making sure I don't break it. But yeah, let's go with one that you've seen Emery play, and I do think if Emery's going to play 4-4-2, it's actually irrelevant to Pepe and Aubameyang and Lacazette, for example, how it works. It's more so the pivot for me, because you have seen our pivot on a regular basis, or our midfield in general, become overrun. You obviously, in football nowadays, the midfielders are way more dynamic, they're covering ground. Statistically, we're covering more ground under Emery, but it's not necessarily in their makeup. Like, Xhaka's got other strengths, but is he the most mobile and dynamic of midfielders? No. Torreira is, but like you've seen, Torreira, the first time he's played over 50 games last season, he needs time to adapt and several things like that, and he looked fatigued. Guendouzi can do that, but he's incredibly naive. So for various reasons, we continuously get overrun in midfield, and on a regular basis, that is actually where we've lost the game. But if we go back to 4-4-2 days, when these things were frequently, I don't know. Admittedly, I don't know if Emery feels this deep down, or if he wants to do it, or he's looking at his personnel and thinking, let me run with it. But either way, people, let's make this one still. Yeah. Keeping with Aubameyang, with Pepe being the Donny. Now, there are two ways you can play this, people. First and foremost is if you want Aubameyang and Lacazette, apologies, people, it's not the most straight. You gotta allow me because I'm doing it from a weird angle, people. Oh, that's as straight as I can. No, man, striker thing can look a bit better. Cool. Let's run with it like this, innit, people? This is as best as I can get it. First and foremost, the obvious. He's a right winger. He plays on the right wing. Aubameyang and Lacazette are up front together. Cool. But let's just say this is Reece Nelson. And then you've got Pepe. I do think one day Pepe could learn to play as a striker, but I think currently, today, him being 24 years of age, you would see something more like this. You would see Pepe dropping in and being a support striker, and you would see Lacazette or Aubameyang up there. It would probably, in terms of link-up, because Aubameyang's link-up play is decent, it can be better, but it's decent. But in terms of who's really technically gifted, I would be keen to see how Pepe and Lacazette would link up together, because they both drop deep and both want to get on the ball. And like I said, Pepe with his Leo teammates, you saw on a regular basis, they were doing nice little 1-2s, whether it was out wide as well at times or inside. But there could be that. Now, in terms of Emre, he could be looking at his let me play Aubameyang up there, because Pepe could look to drop slightly deeper and get onto the ball and do the tight spaces as well as going out wide at times in the games. Where Aubameyang's the more pure, shorter striker. Lacazette and Pepe, like I said, could work. But if we look at it when it's not necessarily going right, both of them strengths are really to get onto the ball, so they'll drop. Of course, people, if we put everybody back now, let's say this is Lacazette, Pepe, and you could have Nelson out there, or you could have, I don't know, whatever winger. You don't. It gives Emre richer options, people, first and foremost. So it gives him good options. He's with Nelson. I don't want to discredit Nelson coming back on loan. With Nelson and Pepe allegedly coming into the club, he's got richer options. Obviously, you can't talk about Pepe. He's got a fairly decent amount of pace on him, people. Wouldn't you agree? So it raises the prospects of playing balls in behind. Like I said, if we can just play a ball in behind and let him go, or our centre halves have that courage, or as much as people say about Xhaka, if he'll play them cross-field passes, or well, it's the worst of angles, or play them good balls into feet or whatnot, or over the top, that raises the prospects of pulling oppositions out wide and things of that nature. So 4-4-2, mainly, people, like I said, for it to work with Pepe and the two strikers, and it could be Nelson or Iwobi on the left, or you could play two left backs just to allow these lot go forward in games and whatnot. Probably looking a bit too tactical, but let's stay on just an overview sort of thing. The pivot would be the main reason for it not working, people. That's the only reason I'm not sure if 4-4-2 can actually work at Arsenal, because I think the personnel are there. I'm not sure on the pivot, and to be honest, a lot of people play free in midfield, or if it's not officially free in midfield, like you've seen, people, a lot of teams favour progression-based football when they come centrally. And you see, once again, our team being overrun. But Pepe can run in behind. He's got the link-up play. I do think as much as he can play on the right-hand flank and has done that, I think people are, one, don't discount his scope for development. He's 24. He could very much be a striker in a couple of years. And don't discredit his work centrally. Out wide, I want him to do that. But it's almost like Mo Salah, people. If we use this as Mo Salah, say he's attacking that way. This guy just to keep it to make it look better. Of course, once upon a time, Salah was stuck out wide, and he was a good player, obviously, to get a move from Basel to Chelsea. But was he necessarily the most effective player he could be? No. When he comes to Liverpool, he's more out there now, or he's here. Now, obviously, he goes out wide and he provokes goal-scoring opportunities from out there, and he does several things of that nature, people. But generally, he's more effective because he's here. Now, Pepe is more like, if we just move that to Pepe now, in fact, yeah. If we remove this now, if we remove this and relate it to Pepe, if you've got our two, what formation do we want to play? Let's just say going with 4 strikers, yeah? Let's just say staying with 4-4-2, make it easier. Yeah? Obviously, people, let me put the midfielders in so it looks better for you. In fact, let me just put the whole team back, man, really. Let me just put the full-back back. Because I like it to be perfect for you, look, but to understand what I'm saying. But Pepe, let me make you this. Obviously, if we move them up a bit, you've got the 2 strikers and the 4 midfielders, 2 central mids. Obviously, we want Pepe first and foremost to hug that touchline, people, at times, and take the opposition's fullback on. I wish I had the blue marker. Take them on, beat them out wide, supply crosses into the box. That was smooth, etc., yeah? But it doesn't have to be like that. The modern day, the players that are really effective, people, in the modern day, they're going to do something like this. Like you said, you've got Lacazette and you've got Aubameyang. Pepe's going to come off there. Leave that to Bellerin or Maitland-Niles. Do you get it, people? You've got the left winger here. We bring in another fullback. Go down there. Do you get it, people? You get it? I'm pretty sure you get onto it. You get it? So as much as we need him to hug the touchline and be that threat, to be the most effective, he has to come inside, people, really and truly. I think, like I made a video about, we're calling for a winger and he is technically one, but I do think we meant inside forward, and he can play as an inside forward, an outright striker, or a right winger, sorry. So, yeah, he's 24 years of age, so I believe it's a good signing first and foremost, people. Obviously, with the money, the price tag, the expectations, you've got to give him time because he's 24. Is he going to hit the ground running? I hope so, but is he of like a world-class, like, not to diss him, but you see when we signed Alexis Sanchez, you could see that's a man that's like wow sort of thing. I still think Pepe is wow, but is he that kind of caliber player? No, but he can be that day, and that's take nothing away from him. He's an incredible footballer. I like him a lot, as you lot see. You lot saw me grin teeth. But if we move on, I think we'll... we'll just end it on a 4-3-3 really. I'll make you lot wait for the 4-2-3-1 thing. But in fact, what's the point? Might as well just get onto it all. Apologies for that, people. But if we do the 4-3-3 quickly. You're free in midfield. Come on. I keep forgetting Pepe is yellow. You could have Lacazette, Aubameyang, as well as the midfielders. You can have Lacazette, Aubameyang, and it's more like you're more likely to see a thing where Pepe is like here, people. Again, keeping up with our fullbacks, creating the width. I'm also on that note. I'm actually also keen to see how it could be if he plays 4-3-3. It'll be like this, people, really and truly. Obviously, you need him out there, and there's also the scope for them to stretch it. And again, you would need dynamic midfielders because if he's going to stretch it, Aubameyang's going to go out there, or if Aubameyang's here and he stretches and Lacazette comes deep, there's a lot of holes opening up in the opposition. So we'll need brave midfielders, people. So there's a lot of ways he can actually be utilised within the side. There's a lot of ways for sometimes Pepe plays, sometimes he doesn't. Lacazette plays, sometimes he doesn't. Aubameyang the same. They all play. That's what we need. Emery needs legit options. Like I'm keen to see Pepe and Nelson, two players that weren't here next season, given chances. And for the players, the existing players, they better raise their game, or you're not gonna get no first team really and truly. And for me, people, I'm just gonna end it on this, kind of on the same note, but. I was keen to see, like, I'll probably save this for our next vid because it's hard off the top of my head, but I'm trying to think of how we could line up people. And right now, I'm kind of feeling this one. 4-3-3 thing, people, yeah? 4-3-3. Put Leno there, yeah? 4-3-3 thing. You've obviously got, I would like it to be Kieran Tierney, but right now, Kolasinac, Leno, Socrates and Holding until another centre-half comes in. Bellerin when fit, but Maitland now, so you're not sensible enough. This is where it gets interesting, people, because can it be Torreira, Ceballos and Guendouzi, or is it going to be Xhaka, Torreira, Ceballos, sorry. But if it was up to me, I'd have Ceballos there, or like alternating whether he wants to be a 10 or an 8, but let's just say here, because it looks a bit more pleasing when one midfield is ahead. I'd say Ceballos, I'm saying Torreira. And I know Xhaka, for all the things he does wrong, he gives us the passing and that. But for me, it'd be Guendouzi on the basis of them being dynamic midfielders, people. So yeah, you've obviously got Pepe there. You've got Lacazette or Aubameyang. Give your point. Give your whatever you want to do, people. For me personally, my bias is actually Aubameyang because I like Aubameyang out there. And I remember the days Lacazette was there, so I let Lacazette do that. And just if he wants to come inside, Kolasinac is typically on that flank, so I let him go out there. Obviously, with the signing of Ceballos, I want to see him getting into these sort of positions and linking up and whatnot as well. But we'll see how we line up for next season. And Emery needs good problems now. For me, people, we know we were told be excited and be this and be that with the market, and we have been. And we'll give credit. Saliba's next season. Ceballos is only a loan. Terrific if Pepe is over the line. By Arsenal standards, they followed through, people. Forgive me for the flashing. I've just noticed that. I don't know if that's the light or if my thing, it probably is the light because we're very close to it. I should have changed that, but I have to just hold it up, people. But it's good conundrums for Emery to have. I mean, it's been a good transfer window based on them finally following through and that, people. But in terms of incomes, if this all happens, you have to give it an 8 or a 9, people, really and truly. And I'll reserve 2 points, bro, because me personally, I need a left back and a centre half, and then I'd really give them 10 out of 10. On the general things, obviously, you want to see us. You would have liked to have seen more progress with outgoings. Not to say these players are going or to name drop them, but you've got the El Nenes, you've got the Mustafis, you've got the Mkhitaryan's, allegedly. You've got obviously quite a few players, man. You lot can sit here and name. Apologies, people. I don't know what happened there right at the end, but you lot can sit here and name them. But on that note, better yet, people, thank you for watching and rocking. Deluded.